Big E Shootaround is live from New York City. Glad that you are with us, Big East Hoops fans, as college basketball tips off in less than 7 weeks. And St. John's fans are in my mentions right now saying, John, we'll see you in Minnesota at the Final Four, and I love it. That's preseason optimism. The Red Storm are hyped. We're going to get to them deeper into this show, but here's what's coming up. Butler star Kamar Baldwin will join me to preview the Dogs slate this upcoming year. He'll be their leader. And we've also got Freshman Fundamentals, a recap of that one-of-a-kind program, as well as the Georgetown Hoops freshmen, McClung and James Akinjo. Patrick Ewing's got some guards for his second year, and he's ready to roll them out in D.C. But we begin with year 2 of the LaVall Jordan era. The Butler way rolled on last season as the Dogs put together another great campaign, won their NCAA first-round game, and now they're looking to retool. Gone are Keelan Martin and Tyler Weidman. Now it is Kamar Baldwin's team. We talked to the Butler star about that and much more in a sit-down. We are now joined by Butler Bulldog star point guard Kamar Baldwin. And Kamar, how was your summer?
The summer was great. Got some good work on the court, off the court, with our bodies, and just getting stronger.
A fan asked this question, and we'll work in a couple of fan questions throughout, but in the wake of Keelan Martin's departure, are you ready to be the guy for this team?
I would say so. With Keelan leaving, playing under him, I was able to learn a lot from him as far as a leadership standpoint, just how to run the team, lead by example, know when to say the right things, when to lead when my vocals just talking to the team, just getting everyone prepared to play.
Has that been something that you've stressed to improve as a leader, and how do you approach being really the guy for the team?
Yeah, being more vocal is definitely something I worked on. Just being confident in myself and what I say, and just having the other guys being confident in me, that goes a long way because, they have your back and you have theirs. So anyone says anything and we're all here for each other to get better.
That confidence from freshman to sophomore year, I have to imagine it's not easy to go through a coaching transition from Coach Holtman to Coach Jordan, but what was that like, and what is your bond with Coach Jordan?
It's a tough process, but, it was great, the transition. Coach Jordan came in, got to know all the players really well, and we got to know him really well. And he's really a hands-on type of coach, so we got to know him really well off the court and on the court in terms of what his skills are, and helping us develop as basketball players.
What's the biggest part of your game? You talk about that development that you've grown with from year 2 now, looking ahead to year 3.
I would say just being able to read the defense, just knowing what I'm looking for, changing over from more of the 2 guard to the point guard position, just reading the defense and knowing when to attack, when to move the ball, and make the right plays.
Another fan question now, and we'll go off the court here. Who could eat 2 PB&J sandwiches faster, Joey Brunk or Trip the Bulldog?
I'd probably go with Trip. Joey's really been watching what he's been eating. He's really trimmed down, really's gotten his body together. So for a team, so he's really made that sacrifice for us so he can be better, so us as a team can be better.
But his pregame routine before he trimmed down, did all that, right, was PB&J?
Yes, sir. that was his go-to.
Would you want to get in on this competition with him and Trip?
No, I'm okay. I think I'm just gonna let them 2 have it and battle it out.
All right. If you could get in an eating competition, though, what could you just eat endlessly?
Definitely ribs. Ribs. That's my go-to.
Favorite rib spot in Georgia?
In Georgia, this place called Winder called Smoking Po' Boys. So that's one of my favorites.
Let's go back on the court for a moment. Who do you try to mimic your game after?
I would say it's a combination of different players in the NBA. Kyrie Irving, and a little bit of Chris Paul. Just that explosiveness, just knowing when to attack. Also, with Chris Paul, just knowing when to read the defense and knowing when to make the right passes and bring the ball out.
When I think Kyrie, I think about that clutch ability, what he did in the 2016 NBA Finals. You seem to channel that clutch ability from time to time. How much do you love having the ball in your hands late in games?
Just about making the right play, making the winning play. So I just try it if that's not even taking a shot, but just making the right play for a team, whether that's kicking it out and making that extra one, so we get a good look to win the game.
You talked about Joey Brunk and how he's trimmed down, and you have had a bit of a new fitness plan, I understand. And another fan asks, what got you into this new fitness?
We got a new strength coach this summer, but the mindset going in was getting our body stronger and quicker, so that way when we get onto the court, being able to play, finish through contact, play through bounce, whether it's offensively or defensively. So just getting our bodies right will benefit us when it comes time to play.
All right, I want your hops. So what kind of exercises were you doing that I can now do?
Mostly it was like squats, bench press, and so a little bit of balance and agility with footwork.
The footwork part for me would be a struggle. That was good that you didn't say anything to that. I like that. I already like you, Kamar Baldwin. What is life like in the Big East when you go through that 18-game grind now that you've been through it twice?
It's great, but like you said, it is a grind because there are no off nights in the Big East. So you got to be ready, prepared mentally and physically every night you go against an opponent in the Big East. So that's really why I love it, because there are no off nights. You got to bring your A game every night.
How much did it go into the recruiting process for you? And then even when you look at where you're at right now at Butler, where the standard is making NCAA tournaments, how can you explain the way that this program is just that, a program that is so consistent?
I would just say the Butler way, just coming in, doing the right thing, playing the right way, and that has led us to playing in March. So just continuing that and just playing the right way like we do, and hopefully the trend will continue.
All right, rapid fire here. Funniest teammate?
Henry Badley.
What makes him funny?
He's a comedian. He's just always joking around, whether it's in the locker room, a little bit of weights. But if you ever need a smile, Henry's the person that gets you to smile.
Favorite movie?
Shrek.
Now that is a big-time choice. That's vintage there. Shrek is a good one. I've never gotten that one before. You get to take anybody out to dinner. Who is it?
I'll probably have to say Skylar Diggins.
Good choice as well. Kamar Baldwin. That's what I call hitting clutch shot after clutch shot on an interview. Way to be. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's take a deeper dive into Kamar Baldwin. I see this guy as one of the most skilled players in the Big East entering this upcoming year. He's flown under the radar a little bit, but now he's ready to be a star. He's a two-way player, very crafty, and can finish at the tin. He might be small, but he's elusive. Look at the way that he goes at defenders. He can draw fouls, take the contact, and finish. And then when I think about Baldwin, I think about the way that he can contain teams defensively. He and Aaron Thompson are going to be two of the best backcourt defenders in the conference. They will make life difficult for teams to get into a rhythm. So Baldwin's got the two-way aspect to his game, and he's a very explosive player. Can pull up, stop on a dime, and hit that jumper. This kid is ready to blossom into being one of the names that you think of when you think of the stars in the Big East Conference. He's crafty, he's very athletic. I love the way that this kid plays. As he goes, Butler will go, and that's a good sign for the Bulldogs entering this upcoming year. And I really like the way he defends. That is the way that Butler gets wins in the Big East. They've got a physical presence, not only in the backcourt, but they make you work for it down low. So look for the Dogs to be right in the middle of this league, fighting every night, and it'll be exciting. Speaking of excitement, this past weekend, the newest faces in Big East basketball joined together in New York City for a one-of-a-kind event. It is the Freshman Fundamentals event, the 4th annual in New York City. This, the idea of Senior Associate Commissioner of Men's Basketball, Stu Jackson, and he welcomed the freshmen, and then there were several great panels. Doug McDermott back at it, as well as Billy Garrett, the DePaul alum. They were giving their perspective on life in the Big East and how you get through the grind of conference play that we just heard Kamar Baldwin talk about. Commissioner Ackerman addressing the Big East freshmen as well and giving them their first taste of what life is like in the conference. And for these guys to come together, I think it establishes the brotherhood in this league. We talk about this 10-team conference and that there's an intimacy factor with it. This sort of establishes that brotherhood. When these guys see each other on the court in pregame warm-ups, Doug McDermott and Billy Garrett were talking about it. And by the way, Dickie Simpkins was outstanding. Want to shout out the Fox Sports personality, #special. He was with Tariq Turner, who moderated the panel. That was such a good panel. And those freshmen, they were locked in. We'll have a full package of this event with tons of great sights and sounds from it. But it's the type of event that really propels these freshmen forward. Stu Jackson addressing them, and we even caught up with Stu to talk about this great event.
You know, we feel it's very valuable in terms of just providing for these players a sense of tools and to try to help them transition from high school into their collegiate careers and beyond. From a conference perspective, you know, we look at this event as something that really helps provide a holistic approach to developing these student athletes, you know, so that they can be successful.
There were several great panels. I was zoning on a couple of them. Former player panel. What's the goal of that? And you know, just the panelists, they put on quite the show for these guys.
Yeah, regardless of the panel or the presenter, the idea is that we talk to the players about topics and allow them to interact with the presenters in a real talk kind of way on subjects that are important to them or that they need. You know, by way of example, talking to them about student-athlete mental health is something that is vitally important, not only in the Big East Conference, but on a national level. You mentioned the former Big East player panel, which has always been one of the more popular presentations that we do, where we bring back ex-players to talk to them about their journeys, their trials and their tribulations in transitioning from high school into college and beyond to becoming professionals. And I thought this year, Doug McDermott, Dickie Simpkins, and Billy Garrett Jr. did an outstanding job. Then we try to give them some information on, you know, relationships and how to manage that. We bring in somebody from the NBA to talk about the NBA life, which is always something that these players want to know. So it's a comprehensive program of subject matters that we feel are necessary for student athletes in a high-level, visible conference like the Big East.
It's such a great event to meet the freshmen from around the conference, and they get a chance to interact. They also attended the 9/11 Memorial, and what a week to do so as we remembered those events from September 11th. But on top of that, for them to establish the brotherhood and come together, listen to the NBA perspective as well, which is where all these freshmen want to go down the line. I think it's invaluable that they get educated on those kinds of things. We had some fun before that, though, with the Georgetown Hoops freshmen. Patrick Ewing is excited about his new look backcourt. McClung, James Akinjo, they are going to give Georgetown a bit of a breath of fresh air with the guard play. But before they get on the court, we had to visit Times Square with them. And yeah, I had to get a New York slice as well.
Check. Test.
Get ready to guard. with you. Why Georgetown?
I'd have to say mostly Coach Ewing was the big draw for me, and his style of play and what he needs, and the way he looks at the game.
James, you were a late addition in the recruiting process, and I saw Coach Ewing came all the way out to California to meet with you personally. What was that like?
You know, it was crazy because I had talked to him a day before when I got my letter. I got released my letter of intent, and he kind of told me he was going to be to see me real soon. So I came down from lunch, and he was just right in the basketball office. So I was like, yeah. So he just showed the most interest in me out of all the schools that was recruiting me, and he really needed a guard for this upcoming year, so I felt like that was the best situation for me.
I've heard that both of you are in the gym every single day. Tell me about your routine.
All right, so first off, we have breakfast early in the morning, and then we compete to see who gets to the gym. Me and James, or whoever's in the gym first. We work out together, but it's like almost a competition every day because we both in the gym like 3 or 4 times a day.
Who's winning that series right now?
I don't know, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up.
What time are you up in the morning?
6 a.m.
Here's the thing that we have to talk about. I had Jesse Govan in our studio about a month ago. Did you see any of that?
He talked to me about it a little bit, yeah.
And I said, you know, what would happen if we documented Mac McClung versus Jesse Govan?
I mean, you know, if y'all want to come down and, you know, get some film on that, you know, I don't know, maybe, you know, we can get a one-on-one, and, you know, I'm pretty sure Mac knows what's up.
Okay, listen up. Tell him I'm going to talk to him when I get back. We can have that. We can film it, broadcast it, all that. He knows how it goes.
What do you think would happen?
Jesse Govan, Mac McClung, both great players. It's a toss-up, really. Whoever's feeling the best that day, get it.
That was a cop-out answer.
Yeah, that wasn't really fair.
You've never been in New York?
No, sir.
You've been once?
Once.
What have you heard about the big city?
Honestly, I just heard it's like a lot of people, and it's really busy, and it's like, it's kind of a one-of-a-kind place. There's nothing really else like it. I'm from a small town, which Gate City I always have on my back, and I always have a chip on my shoulder since I was born, just to compete. Like every day, it's just a fire inside of me, for sure.
What is Gate City like for someone who's never been there?
It's a small town. It's like, this is way different, but it's like a town of 1,000 people, but it's like a family almost, kind of like you know, I'm grateful to come from such a brotherhood, but then I go to Georgetown and it's almost the same way, so it's definitely a brotherhood there.
What have you guys heard about Big East basketball?
I've heard it's really physical, and I heard they kind of let a lot of stuff go. But I heard it's like one of the best conferences in the country, you know, so that's what I'm excited for. I like that.
What's on the James Akinjo pregame playlist?
I gotta get a lot of Meek Mill, Little Drake here and there.
You see Meek came out to Drake's concert?
Yeah, I love that. Kodak, and that's about it.
We're in New York City. Like, where's the place that you gotta go to that just jumps off the page? And don't say Walgreens.
Nah, I don't know. James, that's you, James. Whatever you think.
I want to go to that one gym.
Dykeman?
Yeah. No.
Oh,
I want to go to Dykeman too, but it's the gym. I want to go to Dykeman though.
Dykeman?
Yeah, Dykeman.
Well, Dykeman's on the west side. It's a little trek from here.
Yeah.
You think we could play 3-on-3 at Dykeman?
Oh yeah, we'll win for sure.
I'd post up for you.
Yeah, we got you.
I don't know if I could post up like Govan.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so have you ever had New York pizza?
No.
Well, then we got ourselves a slice.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Let's hit it.
You got buffalo chicken pizza here?
I hope so, bro.
I hope so.
They do.
It's a little thinner crust. Have you heard of deep dish pizza in Chicago?
Yeah, I heard about it, but I never had it.
It's a big debate between Chicago and New York. What's your favorite spot to go in D.C.?
I usually go to this little spot called Weissmiller's, and it has like sandwiches and stuff like that, and that's where I'll go.
Now in Cali, they got In-N-Out.
Oh yeah.
Where you at with In-N-Out?
What? I'm missing that so much. That's like one of the things I miss a lot from being home. I love In-N-Out.
What do you guys think of? When I talk to a lot of players, they talk about how much they love watching Lillard and McCollum.
Lillard, Lillard has become like a mentor to me almost. You know, we're from the same place in Oakland. And so before I came out to Georgetown, I had some opportunities to work out with him, kind of pick his brain, you know. So I really love watching him and just talking to him. He makes me look at the game just totally different.
Yeah, what are the types of things you guys talked about?
I'm not going to share my secrets right now. I share them with him, but not right now, not on camera.
Who do you look up to? Who's your mentor?
You know, when I went to Allen Iverson's event, he had my back and gave me a lot of good advice, like James and Dame Lillard, and it just kind of spoke to me because he's done everything that I want to accomplish, and so yeah, that was good just to talk to him and kind of build a relationship with him.
How cool is it to wear the same uniform that he once wore?
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
So yeah.
Is this us? Okay. Yep. All right. Let's set out and try these. Here we go. There's my pepperoni. Look at that.
Oh.
You need an extra plate?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, there we go.
You got it?
New York pizza, baby.
It's different. I like it though, for sure.
I could do it.
For sure.
Do this all day. Mac McClung, James Akinjo. We're gonna enjoy our pizza. Guys, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks to our producer, Ujosh Patel, and the Big East Hoops Orchestra for packaging together just a beautiful underlay to that visit to Times Square. That was outstanding. A lot of fun. And I got really hungry. I got to GIF that pizza because the slow-mo just makes you, it gets you starving. We're going to stay in New York and talk St. John's basketball. I've been asking you what your predictions are for the Red Storm this season, and I got asked earlier, what's the season outlook? There are 3 keys to the St. John's season for me. One is late game execution. The Red Storm were so close so many times, and in the Big East, you're going to have 1-2 possession type games. That comes down to shot selection. I think about a game at the Garden last year against Seton Hall, between St. John's and the Hall, and Shamari Pons was getting well defended by the Pirates, and they just couldn't find those late game plays to get the win. So now for St. John's, it comes down to making the right plays. If it's that extra pass and shot selection late in games. That's my first key. Number 2 is rebounding. Sadiq Keita is a big key to that. He can be a guy that can average 8 and 8, maybe in a perfect world, a 10 and 10 type guy in some games. So I'm intrigued to see what happens with the impact transfer. And then there's LJ Figueroa, the JUCO transfer, who Chris Mullen is really high on. Figueroa comes to St. John's and looks to add a presence, a versatile type player. And then the third key for me is how Justin Simon can shoot the ball. Because his jump shot, it's the one piece of the puzzle that's missing from really a well-rounded type player. And I think Simon can hit the jumper, and it looks like he's significantly improved in that area. But this is a guy that defends on the ball extremely well. He's such a versatile piece, and I think NBA scouts will look at this guy because if his jumper can evolve, he becomes a completely different player. He's got some of it there, but if he could take the next step with it, that's big. So late game execution, Shamari Pons is one of the best players, and many people have said the best player in the Big East heading into this year. We'll see what happens with that. Rebounding, and then Justin Simon. This is a guy that I really like, and if he could take the next step with his perimeter game, watch out for the Red Storm. It is a pivotal year for Chris Mullen. Year 4 of the St. John's era. I know Red Storm fans are excited. The status of Mustafa Heron's still up in the air. That's a key headline. But St. John's basketball could very well take the next step and be one of the top teams in the Big East if all can go right for the Red Storm. Thanks so much for catching another edition of Shootaround. Reminder, you can follow us at Big East MBB on Twitter. I'm at John_Fanta. And we'll be back with you next Thursday, 1 Eastern time, as we start something new. It's the Shootaround Challenge. And we'll kick it off with some cheese. You're just going to have to stay tuned and catch it next week. Thanks for watching.